Welcome, Husker fans. Thank you for tuning into Big Red Radio. I am your host, Caleb Jenneret. Next to me is my co-host, as always, Zach Jenneret. We are in person today. Got a nice little setup here. As you can see, the fire. We are outside, kind of half and half, inside out. Zach's home for the holidays, so wanted to get the first in-person episode out of. We're probably going to have 3 or 4. Might take a holiday break.
Yeah.
But yeah, officially, I think we are down to 1 episode a week now that we are in the off season. There's still a lot to talk about, obviously, but not as much as the season. So we're just going to go down to 1 a week. Maybe we sprinkle in a little bit more if something happens, like something big happens, big news or anything. But before we start, Zach, how are you doing? How's it been?
It's been good. Glad to be home. Glad to finally have this in-person episode we've been waiting to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, we've been wanting to do it, and it's been screwed up by a few things here and there, but finally able to do it, and it's nice to be here and finally do it, like I said.
Yeah, no, it's a lot better. I think the chemistry is a lot better. Obviously, we can make good content and make good shows on Zoom, but it's a little bit easier when we're in person and we're actually like having a conversation instead of stepping on each other's words and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're going to talk about recruits. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything that's been happening. A lot of recruits have been happening, a lot of transfer portal kind of stuff. A lot of people are wondering about Casey Thompson. We still have no clue what's happening with Casey Thompson. We do know he's most likely having shoulder surgery. I think it's actually confirmed that he is going to have shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
And he's going to be out until, I think, after spring ball even.
Mm-hmm.
So we have no clue what's going to happen. We have no clue what's going to happen with Garrett Nelson.
I would think he'd stay.
Yeah,
I think he's Nebraska through and through, and I think he loves Matt Rule, and I think Matt Rule loves him.
Yeah, but do you know he loves Matt Rule?
No, but
You're
here's
guessing.
the thing.
You love Matt Rule, so you're like, everybody loves Matt Rule.
That's fair. But at the same time, if he leaves, he's only leaving for the draft. I think I've said that in the past.
I don't think that's true. I
don't think Garrett Nelson is a guy who's going to leave Nebraska. He
So-
grew up in Nebraska. He grew up watching Nebraska. He loves Nebraska. He's been the captain of Nebraska.
Here's the only thing that gets me is like, he went through a rebuild because I think he was recruited by Mike Riley. His freshman year was Scott Frost's first year, I think. And then he goes through the rebuild, and now his senior year, preparing for the draft, do you think he wants to go through another complete rebuild? Like, rebuild doesn't mean we're going to be bad, but like, or you could go to a team, I don't even know a team, but you could transfer to a team. Like, obviously, we just saw Ernest Hausman went to Michigan. You could go to a team like Michigan.
Yeah, but
Get better, get higher upside, get that draft stock up. Because I don't think he's leaving for the draft. I don't think he gets drafted if he leaves right now.
No, I don't either. But here's the thing. He got second team All Big Ten. And I think both the coaches and the AP. Do we think he gets that? Do we think he gets first team anywhere else?
Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. If he
You know
doesn't
what I mean?
think
I'm
he
not
was
saying-
utilized correctly here, I think he could
I
go
think he
somewhere.
was.
Well,
I mean,
you think he was, but who knows?
I don't think he's fast enough to play any farther back.
No,
don't
he's
think
an
he's
edge
big
rusher
enough.
through and through.
Yeah, and so I think that's what we utilized him as.
He
And so I
kind of
think
did drop back a little bit, though.
Here
He
and
showed a
there.
little bit both.
Here and there, but I think he's more that TJ Watt kind of.
Sure, no, he's an edge rusher.
know.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, edge rushers can be utilized in different ways.
But tell me, okay, so if he goes to a big team, what's to say he doesn't fall through the cracks?
Sure, no, I understand. There's risks both ways. I just don't know what Garrett's mindset is currently. He could be wanting to come back. Maybe we haven't heard anything because maybe he just fully plans to come back and just hasn't told anybody, but that's kind of hard to believe. But I think he is.
Yeah, but why does he have to tell anyone if he's planning to come back? Shouldn't it just be like kind of?
Yeah, but he knows. I mean, he knows people are wondering, and I think he's just waiting to make a decision. I just don't think he's made a decision yet.
And maybe that's true. And the defensive coordinator did just get hired, and so you
Maybe
gotta
they still need
meet
to have
that
those
guy.
conversations,
You gotta
right.
meet that guy, and he's also you gotta meet Terrence Knighton. Obviously, you gotta talk to him, and see, conversations have to be made. But I think we have a great coaching staff, and I think we have a coaching staff that's going to utilize Garrett Nelson in a really, really good way. I mean, the 3-3-5 can utilize Garrett Nelson in a big way. It's a defense that runs blitzes and hard pressure off the edge on quarterbacks, and so I think it can use Garrett Nelson in a really big way. I think he can really shine in that defense. But like Caleb said, the only question is, does he want to be part of another rebuild?
Right.
You know,
he was recruited by Mike Riley, was coached by Scott
he
Frost.
was recruited by Mike Riley?
Yes, he was a Mike Riley recruit. He was not. I don't think he was a Scott Frost recruit because Scott Frost didn't recruit in Nebraska.
That's true.
So I think he was recruited by Mike Riley, played for Scott Frost, played for Mickey for half a year, and now he's going to a new coach. Do you think he wants to play for 4 different coaches at the same team that's just been loads and loads and loads of turmoil his entire career?
That's true. That's true. And
I mean, it's a question that we don't know. Like, we don't know the answer.
You would think, if I was him, I mean, I don't know. Do I really want to do that? Maybe not. He was recruiting. His freshman year was 2019, so that was Scott Frost's
First year.
So yes, he was recruited by Mike Riley, but never played under Mike Riley.
Right. He was
Only
a Scott
played
Frost
under.
guy.
Yeah.
He was a Scott Frost development guy, and we all know how bad Scott Frost was at development. Not trying to trash on Scott Frost, but we saw a bunch of
it's
people.
definitely a weak part of his game.
So think about how
good he could have been.
Which is not the
fair.
game we want to play because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But yeah. So that's just one of the things that's on a lot of Husker fans' minds right now. Another thing is obviously Malachi Coleman. We see he committed to Mickey, decommitted when all the Mickey stuff happened.
No. Here. That's where I don't like what people are saying. He never decommitted, right?
He did. No, he did.
Well, okay, he did technically, but there's a difference because Omarion Miller decommitted. Omarion Miller has zero interest in coming back to Nebraska.
No, he opened up his recruitment.
Yes, that's what I like to say because there's a difference. Omarion Miller completely decommitted and has no interest in coming back to Nebraska, which is perfectly fine with me. He's a receiver out of Louisiana. That tells you right there, he is 100%
He was a Mickey guy.
He's a Mickey guy, and the only reason he's there is for Mickey, and that's fair, you know? And I would expect if this were to happen mid-season and Mickey leaves, I would expect Trey Palmer to possibly enter the transfer portal as well. If Trey was planning to come back, and then this happens to Mickey, I expect Trey to enter the transfer portal because, and I'm not mad about that because the Mickey guy, and the only reason he's there is because of Mickey. Which some may say, you know, you got to play for the N on your head and the N on your chest, but at the end of the day, it's not. There's guys that put you there, and there's guys that put you in positions, and so I'm not mad about that. Malachi Coleman, though, opened up his recruitment, has shown interest in Nebraska. A lot of people still think he's going to come to Nebraska. His crystal ball prediction is still Nebraska through everyone 100%. The only real other player, I think his top 3 are Nebraska, Colorado, and Michigan, but I really don't think Michigan's that much of a player.
No, because he canceled his visit to Michigan.
Yeah, okay. The only other one I see, not trying to throw shots at Miami here, by the way, but Miami canceling Malachi's visit prior to his commitment to Nebraska because they felt he was committed to Nebraska, and there was no way they were going to flip him, so they canceled his visit and said, we don't even want to try, hurt them. Because I really think he had interest in them, and I really think they could be a running team in this.
Yeah, especially right now when he opened it up. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, that just shows you can't be doing that.
A lot of stuff is happening with Malachi right now. Obviously, he would be a big time get for Nebraska. He's a freak athlete,
Huge,
4-star
yeah.
athlete. But
in
there's a lot of
as well.
stuff. Right, he's in-state, which is very important for Nebraska to get. One of the best athletes to come out of Nebraska in a long time. But there's a lot of stuff coming out, like, this is just stuff that I've seen on Twitter, so this is not coming from a credible source or anything like that. But a lot of people are saying, like, his attitude's bad. He likes to follow the hype. There was a story where a quarterback at his high school that he liked, didn't get to start, so he got mad in the locker room. None of that means anything to me. I mean, that's just kind of stuff that happens.
Like, that's okay. It's not as extreme as, you look at the O lineman. I think it's Riley Van Poppel. Maybe not. I may have the two mixed up. There's an O lineman that is committed to Nebraska. That there is film of him playing a little dirty.
Yep.
It's football. I mean, I'm not going to say what he did was right, but at the same time, I'm not going to come out here and say that kid's a terrible kid. He's cocky. He does this all the time. It's football. Some of them were a little deliberate, but it's high school football. These kids are teenagers, and they're going through some of the, in their eyes, some of the biggest times of their lives. Crazy things are going to happen, all right? And so, but same thing with Malachi, right? Say that does happen. I think Malachi's a good guy. I think he's a really good player, and I think he'd be a huge get for our team.
Yeah, here's what I'm worried about.
You can't let him go to freaking Colorado.
Yeah,
cannot.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. That's what I'm worried about. Do you think, after sitting in a room with Deion Sanders telling you, come play for me, that you could say, no, I want to go play for first-year coach Matt Rule instead?
Yes. Here's why. Deion Sanders is going to say, come play for me, I'll pay you $2,500 in NIL money. Matt Rule is going to sit there and say, come play for me, here's $200,000 in NIL money.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
no, not even
maybe. A report
maybe.
came out
Not even maybe.
that
Nebraska
said NIL deals aren't as big as you think they are.
It is true, and it is a fact, that Nebraska has the least amount of regulations as far as state around NIL deals, and one of, if not the most supportive fan bases, supportive donors, and, supported city around the, the sport of football than any others in college football. And so I do think Malachi Coleman can get huge NIL money at Nebraska. And Colorado doesn't have the money to pay Deion. How are they going to get the NIL money to pay guys like Malachi Coleman? And he's an in-state guy, right? He grew up in Nebraska.
He wants to come to Nebraska. I think he's looking for a reason
Nebraska.
to come to Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. Unless something crazy happens, Deion being one of them. But how do we know that Deion can even offer him a scholarship at Colorado?
He can offer him a scholarship.
Well, he's got to get Shadur Sanders a scholarship. He's got to get Travis Hunter a scholarship.
He can pull as many scholarships as he wants.
Not scholarships.
He can pull kids scholarships.
But every team in the United States, whether you're Alabama or you're Rice, gets the same amount of scholarships.
You think the backup kicker who's currently on scholarship, which I don't know, I'm just saying this. You think like a backup punter who's on scholarship is going to get a scholarship over his son and the 4-star athlete that's 6'5",
no, I'm
200
not saying
pounds,
that. I'm not
runs a
saying
4.4.
that. But look at all the kids that are going to go to Colorado.
Sure. I understand.
Look at all the high-level kids that are going to go to Colorado.
Colleges have more scholarships, I think, than people realize. I think, like 60? No, they have more than that.
No, it's not that.
I think they have more than that, honestly. Look up how many D1s, how many scholarships do D1 programs have? What is it?
Oh, it's
85? Is that what I see? 85. That's a ton.
That is a ton. Okay, I thought it was much
Colorado has one of the largest amounts of people leaving the school in the portal as well. So I think they're fine. I think they're going to be able to bring in whoever they want.
That's fair.
But
I think Malachi Coleman, like you said, is looking for a reason to not go to Nebraska, and I don't think Matt Rule is going to provide one.
Yeah, no, Matt Rule's a good guy. He's well-spoken.
But
in today's day and age,
very, very hardworking. As we've seen, I don't know if you've been following his Twitter, but the dude is going all around the country recruiting.
Which,
right
I
now.
mean, also, yes, I understand that. I like what Matt Rule is doing, but you can't act like other coaches aren't doing the same thing.
That's fair, but I can tell you, past Nebraska coaches weren't.
Sure, no, I agree.
Past Nebraska coaches were not, and so to see him doing that is big. And I think, like you said, he's looking for a reason to not come, and I just don't think Matt Rule is going to provide him with one.
The thing I'm scared
I don't
about,
think there's a reason not to come now other than Mickey, unless Mickey was that big of a driving factor, which maybe
I don't think he was, because if he
maybe
was, he would have said, "I'm not even interested anymore."
Exactly. And so
Matt Rule had an in-home visit with him.
Unless there's that big of a driving factor in Mickey, what's different now?
Right.
What's worse now?
No, I agree. I do think Nebraska is going to get Malachi Coleman, but I also want to say I don't think we should be devastated
if we
burn
don't
the program down if we don't get him.
You know,
he's a great athlete,
but he's not the Zion of football.
No, he's not a 5-star.
Exactly.
He's a 4-star. But I'm not trying to talk down on him at all. He's a stud. He's a freak.
And that's where he'd be a really good
he'd
get,
be an extremely good get.
But he's not end of the world loss.
Right. If we lose him, it's not. Oh my gosh, we just lost out on the future of Nebraska football.
Exactly.
It's not.
There's a lot of guys,
right? And there's a lot of guys which we're going to talk about today.
Matt Rule is one of the best developers.
That is true.
In college football,
and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because I think Nebraska's recruiting class right now is ranked in like the 50s, and it's going to be tough because Matt Rule's not coming from a college where he already had these recruits. When Scott Frost came to Nebraska from UCF, he was already talking to guys at UCF. He came to Nebraska and
That's
said,
true.
Now I'm coming to Nebraska. You still want to come
He's not going to flip a lot of guys.
Right. He's not going to flip a lot of guys because he didn't have a previous college. The guys he coached are now seniors in the NFL or like super seniors. So not a lot of guys. Maybe some transfer portal guys. I think he's actually talking to a few Baylor guys. I don't remember their names. I don't think they were very big, but I did see something like that. So getting into the transfer portal, one of the top guys Nebraska was rumored on is Johnny Cornelius, tackle from Rhode Island. He was originally rumored to be interested in Nebraska and Oregon mainly. That flipped, I think today, because I think I checked yesterday and it was still Nebraska leading the cause and then Oregon right behind. Now I think it's Ohio State and Tennessee, so that completely flipped over. I don't have a lot of faith that Nebraska is going to get him. I hope they do. He would be a day one starter. But what recruiting pitch are you telling an offensive lineman that wants to better himself? Like, are you saying, hey, look at what we've done? Like, you could say, hey, look at what we've done. We got Bryce Benhart into the draft. Yeah, a 4th-round pick. While Oregon's telling him, look what we did with Penei Sewell. It was a top 7, top 5 pick.
And that's true.
It's tough. It's tough. I'm not saying there's no chance, but it's just tough. And especially now that he's interested in Ohio State and Tennessee. Like, what does Nebraska have pitches on that besides maybe NIL? I doubt they have more NIL money than Ohio State. I doubt they have more NIL money than Oregon.
They don't.
Maybe Tennessee's kind of even. That might be kind of close. But still, no, it's going to be tough to get him. He's going to have to really believe in Donovan Raiola. Yeah, Donovan Raiola. I thought I said Dylan Raiola for a second. No, but Donovan Raiola, and maybe he does because Matt Rule believes in him. From what we saw last year, it didn't look like it did much. So if Matt Rule believes in him, there's got to be something there. So moving on to another portal guy that a lot of people are talking about, Jeff Sims, quarterback from Georgia Tech. I love Jeff Sims. I love the thought of it. The guy's a freak. He runs a 4.4. I think he's like 6'5". He runs a 4.4, has a crazy arm. He's one of the most purely talented quarterbacks in the nation, and that's not an understatement. It's just he's got to get everything toned together. I think he threw 23 interceptions either last year or the past 2 years. But it's kind of like the Adrian Martinez situation where he was in an offense where he was asked to do everything, and he went through one of the similar things that Nebraska went through this year with coach starting the year, getting fired, interim. Now it's even I think they hired their interim actually, but no, it's just a lot has gone wrong for Jeff Sims, and the dude's a stud. Is he anything crazy like what we're seeing at the top with Devin Leary, Grayson McCall, DJ Ugalele, Brennan Armstrong? No, he's nothing. He's not at that level. He has potential.
You can't expect us to get.
Sure, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. And he's a guy that Matt Rule would like because we know Matt Rule likes to look at talent and what he can make out of this talent. And you can make Jeff Sims into a NFL prospect. Can you make some of these other guys around him into NFL prospects? I don't know. You've already seen it with Matt Rule. He recruited some 3-star wide receivers, and people are all up in arms like, why aren't we going to get the 4 stars? Why aren't we going to get these guys? And because they're fast. I think we recruited a track guy that at the time he was recruited was a 0-star, but he's one of the fastest kids in the country, just track speed. So I think Matt Rule sees a lot in him that he can make into an NFL-type receiver.
Bryce Turner, who's he's from Texas, and he's going to Nebraska for track and for football. And yeah, like he said,
I think football. Rule, I think Nebraska was his only D1 offer. In football.
Matt Rule likes to develop guys with natural talent, and so we shouldn't be scared of him because he's got everything he needs. Right. He's got the speed.
He's got legit track speed, like a legit close to Olympic level track speed.
Yeah. He has, no, that's not him. Hands can be taught. Mm-hmm. Route running can be taught. And as long as he wants to be taught, he will be a top-level guy. I'm not going to say he's a day-one starter. I'm not going to say he's a sophomore-year starter. But maybe
he can be a playmaker, for sure.
He can be a playmaker, for sure, and that's all you need. You just need a bunch of playmakers on the team. Right. And so I don't like looking at stars.
I would rather have people that fit than
exactly.
get a 5-star that may be gone in a couple of years because they don't really fit. Moving
Another
on.
One is Sincere.
A big corner, yep.
Try to get this name right. Sincere.
Yeah, it's a tough.
Sofalua.
Yeah, it's a tough name. He was a 3-star, I think. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, so he's a 3-star.
There's so many other
He's at an IMG.
Yeah, so that is what I was excited about because they do have a really. If you didn't know, IMG Academy has a really good football team. And
yes.
So they teach a lot of good things.
Yeah, so we actually lost a guy decommitted from IMG. Mm-hmm. And so to pick another IMG guy, not saying he fills the spot.
Right.
I don't know, compared-wise, but it is nice to see that, because you see it from high school teams a lot. A guy will, say 2 guys from Millard North are committed to Nebraska. 1 decommits, wouldn't be all that surprising to see them go as well. But with IMG being an academy,
it's so big.
There's so
many football players there,
and so it's nice to see that we're still getting guys out of IMG. I think this guy can be really good. Corner, especially like we've said, that 3-3-5 defense is going to be a very important spot.
See, I don't think we're going to run a 3-3-5 mainly. I think it's going to be a variation. I think there's something's going around.
3-3-5 with a nickel.
Sure, I think. Well, 3-3-5 does have a nickel.
Or not 3-3-5 with a nickel. 3-3-5 with a roamer.
3-3-5. Yeah, it is. A roamer is the nickel.
But it's an odd. It's kind of different. Way. It's like a Big Ten.
But I think
I think Wisconsin runs a 3-3-5.
Right. It came out that Matt Rule told a recruit that they're running multiple. So it's going to be a lot of fronts, a lot of different fronts, a lot of different backfields, a lot of different variations.
Is fine.
Which I like, actually. Tony White's a smart guy, so he's going to figure it out. Moving on to another transfer portal guy, transfer portal quarterback from Arkansas. His name's Malik Hornsby. Kind of an odd one for me. I don't know how I feel about it. He's freakishly athletic, fast, can throw it. But he was really inconsistent. He was not very accurate at all at Arkansas. Got a few chances against LSU, I believe, and didn't look great. But Matt Rule's creative. Scott Satterfield Marcus Satterfield, last year used a wildcat quarterback a lot around the goal line and stuff. So not really too worried about if he does commit to Nebraska that he would have any trouble figuring out his role. People were even saying he could move to receiver, kind of play like a Luke McCaffrey role, which who knows what that can be.
I don't think so. I don't think he would do that. Why would you be a quarterback and transfer someone to play receiver?
No, I'm not saying he would just play receiver. I'm saying he could play like a hybrid, kind of everything.
Maybe.
Play like all around. Maybe like a I mean, obviously I'm not saying he's like Taysom Hill, but play like a Taysom
He
Hill
wasn't
type
the
of
start.
role.
He was not the starter.
No, he
at
was. I
Arkansas.
think he was even the third string.
Yeah, and so this wouldn't be a crazy get.
No, it wouldn't
By
be
any
insane.
means.
It would excite me a little bit just because it would. I think we need to get a quarterback in the from the transfer portal. I don't want to roll out the. See if we lose Casey, and we don't get a guy from the transfer portal, and we roll out Chuba, Logan, Harburg, Jarrett Sinek, Richard Torres. Like, how excited are you about that room?
That's true.
Like
But Chuba's going to be a junior.
Sure. I need to see somebody in there that excites me. Chuba's fine. Logan's fine. I guess Heinrich Harburg, I don't know. They didn't like him enough last year. They put Jarek Sinek over him. Richard Torres was a freshman last year. People say he had the best arm in the room. So, I don't know. If Casey doesn't come back, even if Casey does come back, I want to see somebody new in there. Because last year, obviously, backup quarterback play wasn't the best.
No.
And it wasn't all on them. We're not saying it's all on them, but
And that's
underwhelming.
That's something you could do, is you could bring in Malik Hornsby to be a backup to Casey.
Yeah. Or Jeff Sims.
Or Jeff Sims, right. But I'll tell you this right now, Jeff Sims is not going to come here to be a backup to Casey Thompson.
Well, no, he's not going to come with that in mind, but it might be the reality.
Yeah, but
Like, Jeff Sims a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he's not good enough to make a decision like, I'm coming here and I'm going to be the starter.
no.
Like, he's going to compete wherever he goes.
But yes, but I think most of the places he's going to go, he's going to be the starter at.
Sure.
If he's going to go there.
I
don't think he's going to come here if Casey's staying.
You don't think so?
No.
I think there's a shot.
I don't think so. Why would he? Why would he come here when he can go to any other option? Because if he comes here and they're not going to bench Casey. At least not game one. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Casey's going to be the starter.
And I think Casey's better than him.
We just don't know, really, because it was just a bad situation. Like, we saw what Adrian Martinez did this year in a situation that fit him more. He was a Heisman. He was on the Heisman list.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Who knows? And I'm not saying Jeff Sims is identical to Adrian Martinez. They're two totally different players. But that's kind of just what I'm saying. Last guy I wanted to talk about. Well, I guess we can talk about more guys if you want. But the last recruit/transfer that I wanted to talk about is Tristan Alvano, the 5-star kicker out of Nebraska. I think he's coming to Nebraska. I think it's almost locked. I think he's actually already committed by the time you're watching this video, because he's committing Friday at 10:30 a.m. So he's already committed somewhere. I believe it'll be Nebraska. If it's not, I'll clip this and you'll be seeing this right now, and you can make fun of me as much as you want. But I really do think he's coming to Nebraska. I think in-state guy. I think he wants to stay in-state. Obviously, I don't know him. But I just get the feeling he wants to be at Nebraska. He wants to come to Nebraska. He was really excited when Nebraska did finally send him that offer. So I'm really excited to see a really stud kicker. Like, Bleak Road was fine. Bleak Road did good this year. He was fine, but he
Do
wasn't.
we not have a technically 5-star kicker already on the team that committed last year?
I'm not sure, because we did have a kicker transfer out.
I believe that
this
was
year.
from the JUCO though.
Okay.
I think that was the JUCO, or was Bushini a JUCO guy?
Bushini was a D2 guy.
Okay.
From Montana.
There was a JUCO kicker.
This guy, Alvano, doesn't even have to start right away.
No, and kickers don't. Kickers, you're not going to be a 4-year starter kicker and go get drafted in the first round.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
No.
There's no one.
There was a kicker that got drafted in the second round.
Yes.
Robert Arayo or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he flopped.
He
big
did
time.
flop. He was a bust. Bad draft pick.
Yeah, terrible. I don't know why. You could have got him way later, so I don't know why. But, anyways, people don't realize how important getting 5-star kickers and 5-star long snappers
There we go. That's another guy. Yeah.
because if you look at this year, and like we said, Bleak Road did fine. Bleak Road made the field goals he should have made 95% of the time, and made a few that we didn't maybe think he would have made. And And that's fine. And that's what a kicker should do. And at long snapper, extra points are not easy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not easy to do perfect every single time. Same with game-winning field goals. Obviously not easy. A long snapper is a huge part of that. And so to have one of the best to ever do it, or not to ever do it, but one of the best to do it currently is so big. And if you look at 2020 versus 2020, or
2021 versus
well,
2022.
even 2020, or
Sure.
those teams were terrible.
Yeah, that team was bad too.
Not as bad as 2021, but
Right.
2021 and 2022, we didn't have blocked punts.
Yep.
We didn't have blocked field goals. We didn't have shanked extra. I remember us being like, "Oh my God, we made an extra point. That's
Yeah.
crazy." Like that should never be.
No, we saw the difference it made when you didn't have to be nervous. Last year, I would have rather gone for it every single time on fourth down instead of punting it, just because we knew.
Okay, was Bill Bush the special teams coordinator in
No.
20? Who was?
I think Scott Frost was. I don't think we had a special teams coach.
Okay. For some reason, I've brought this up multiple times. I don't know why we were told to never fair catch a punt.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think there was a couple, I guess, that didn't get fair caught this year, but almost probably 90% of the punts this year got fair caught.
And we had Trey Palmer back there, too.
That's true. Yeah,
And
we had
still
Trey
fair
Palmer
caught.
back there. We had
Because there's
Tommy
why
Hill.
would you risk it? You know how many punts get taken back for touchdowns? You know how many punts get taken back from winning 10-yard returns?
Right.
Very few.
If you're getting
Why
it with
you-
10 yards of space, then yes, I understand
Yeah,
taking
I
off.
understand. If it's a line drive punt, sure. But otherwise, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
And you're risking injury to yourself, you're risking fumbles, you're risking... there's so many things. For little gain. Very
Right.
little gain every time. And so,
Right.
yeah. I think special teams improving is huge. O-line improving is huge. And then just getting raw freaking talent is huge.
Mm.
And I really like what Matt Rule's doing. And try not to drink the Kool-Aid too much, but I did see Kool-Aid was actually invented in Nebraska. And so I think it's only fair and it's fate that you just gotta chug the Kool-Aid
Yeah.
because it's made
Drink the
in
Kool-Aid.
it's made in Nebraska, and so there's no reason to not.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's actually pretty funny. There, but
Yeah, you guys probably didn't hear what was just said, but it doesn't need to be in there.
it got not Nebraska football. We'll say that.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to get something else. But before I do, I want to ask: is there anything else you want to talk about Nebraska football? Because I want to get into a different topic out of Nebraska football that I'm just wondering if there's anything
no.
else.
No.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about Deion Sanders. I want to get your quick thoughts. I know we could go on for 30 minutes.
Yeah, okay, quick thoughts. All right, you still like him.
I
Really,
do like
did.
him.
I
like
used
him.
to like him. I don't like him. I think Deion is... part of the reason is because...
Do you not
We
like
are-
him because he's not at Nebraska?
No, I don't want him in Nebraska.
Right, you can say that now because he's not at Nebraska. Do you like him? Do you
Hindsight-
not, would you like him still if we didn't have to play him next year?
No.
Okay.
I don't like what he's doing. I don't... And a lot of people say you're taking it the wrong way. But when he went into that meeting and told them, I've got guys coming in, if you don't want to be here, then leave.
Sure.
Is not... Because this is what Matt Rule did. Matt Rule came in there and said, hey, I'd love to have you all here. But I understand. I'm not the coach that recruited you. I'm not the coach you chose to play under. And so if you want to leave, that's fine. But he never instilled fear. He never... And you can say Colorado was bad. We were bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were bad. I
Yeah.
think we would have spanked Colorado, but we were bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think the approach he took was fair to those kids. And I think his son's going to be day one starter, and his son's good.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's a good quarterback.
His son's, I think, if his son entered the transfer portal legitly,
I don't even think he has yet.
Which he hasn't, but he will.
Right.
And I think when he does, they're going to rate him as some freaking 4-star. But I think he's a mid-grade 3, not a high 4.
Let's take the bias out of it. Would you rather have Shedeur Sanders or Jeff Sims?
Jeff Sims.
I don't know if you're actually telling the truth. I think you're saying that.
No, I think Jeff Sims is more proven.
Proven what?
At the higher level.
Listen.
Congratulations, Shedeur Sanders. You showed off in the FCS, in the HBCU conference. Never once did you play in the FCS playoffs.
Well, he would have this year.
He would have, but he didn't. And he didn't. No, Shedeur Sanders. No, Jackson State doesn't play in the FCS playoffs.
Right.
Because they're
they
an HBCU.
would have. They would have if there wasn't that.
It's
thing
the
Celebration Bowl, the HBCU Bowl, right?
Okay, that's fair. He didn't get the chance. Cool. Whatever.
They were undefeated. They would have made the playoff.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. But there's a lot of other guys that didn't get the chance, and it's like, I'm sorry, and that sucks, and that's not on you, but I'm also not going to choose you over a guy that did get the chance and is shown at a higher level.
Sure.
Jeff Sims, I think, is a better quarterback.
If Shedeur Sanders entered the portal and Deion stayed at Jackson State, he is a Power 5 starter day one.
Not anywhere.
Yes, he is. No, not anywhere, but like he would be ranked higher than Grayson McCall. He would be ranked higher than Jeff Sims for sure. He would be ranked higher than Graham Mertz.
Yeah,
he'd be ranked higher than Spencer Sanders. Look at what was his name? What was his name from last year? Cam. Went to Washington State. I forgot his name, but Cam went to Washington State. Had a great year. He was coming from an FCS program as well.
Talking about Incarnate Word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not FCS. It's not FCS. Or it is FCS. FCS Division 1, yeah. And yeah, he showed out. And
it's not. I don't think it's fair to.
And Shedeur Sanders had a better year this year
against only HBCUs.
That I don't know if that's true. He played in the league with HBCUs, but that was not only.
Okay,
I don't
not
think he
only
played HBCUs.
But he never played South Coast State.
No, he
never played North Coast State.
Also, Incarnate World doesn't also have, or Incarnate Word, I think is what they are.
Yeah.
But they also aren't some juggernaut. Like, I think you're being unfair because you don't like Deion.
Maybe I am. And not to, okay.
And I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is some number one first overall prospect or anything. I'm just saying he is a legit starting quarterback. And he would easily start at Colorado last year.
Yeah.
And he will easily start at Colorado this year.
Yes. And
he will be the best quarterback on the roster. He was a Division I commit.
Yeah, and that's fair, but I also think it's hard to. I mean, is he going to pull Shedeur when Shedeur starts messing up?
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a legit question. We don't know how good of a coach Deion is.
It's hard to play. It's hard to coach and have your kid on the team and have a guy like, which we don't even know that Travis Hunter's going there yet. I think he is.
I think he is too, but there's some stuff out there that maybe he's not.
Like, you know, Mickey, we saw it this year with Mark Whipple and Chubba Purdy, right? Chubba Purdy was doing very bad in the Illinois game. Minnesota.
No, because he did well in Minnesota, or he started off well against Minnesota. Maybe it was the Minnesota game.
One of the games. I think it was Illinois.
No, Illinois, because Logan went out.
Anyways,
Logan was starting.
Mark Whipple seemed to have some alliance to Chubba Purdy.
Yeah, no, we definitely saw that, and it was hard for him to pull him, and he didn't want to pull him because he believed him so much. He wanted Chubba to be the guy so much, but also to be fair, when Logan went in, Logan didn't look good either.
No, that's fair, but you got to pull a guy when he's struggling.
Yeah, but you also got to play that balance of, do you just pull them when they're struggling, or do you let them figure it out?
And when Logan went in that game, he ran the ball well.
Okay,
he
but
fumbled, but
Logan went in the Michigan game and looked worse than Chubba.
That's fair. But it did seem like there was some sort of alliance.
Sure, no, I completely
and
agree.
Mark Whipple didn't want to pull him, and so I think that's... And I don't think... Here's the thing. Next year, a lot of people have a lot of hype around Colorado and Deion. Go look at Texas A&M. Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher have recruited a top 10 class. And
I think they signed the number 1 class in
They
history
did.
of college football last year.
yes.
Which, I mean, you can't judge off of a
Yeah, and
bad
that's fair.
year freshman
But if
class.
I mean, you're signing top 10 classes year in and year out.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time Texas A&M? I mean, they always start off really highly ranked.
Right. They've had good teams, not
yeah.
not anything crazy.
9-3.
9-3, I think, was their best year.
Yeah. And that's in the SEC. I think Texas A&M is going to get way better guys, and I think they have a better coaching staff than Colorado.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Jackson State DC is Colorado's DC.
No,
Yeah, they just signed him.
I thought the Alabama, the coach.
That was just a rumor.
Oh, okay. Well, I know their OC's legit. Their OC was a
Their
head
OC's
coach
legit,
at Kent State.
but the
had one of the
DC
best offenses every single year. Now he went to OC
And
in
here's the
Colorado.
thing. That's why I don't think Colorado has enough money to sign a hardcore coaching staff. Because they're signing the Jackson State defensive coordinator. And you never saw anything about Jackson State having the number 1 defense in FCS.
They had a good defense
They had a good defense.
because they had Jackson State or Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter
But
was always getting picked.
if you want to rebuild a team, right, are you going to sign a defensive coordinator from Jackson State? Nothing
Listen,
against the guy.
listen.
I'm not saying he's a bad defensive coordinator.
No.
I'm just saying
How
that's
can
not a level 1 staff. And next year, I don't think Deion's beating Oregon. I don't think Deion's beating Utah. I don't think Deion's going to beat USC, UCLA, maybe.
UCLA was good this year.
Probably not, though. Oregon State. I don't think he's going to beat Oregon State.
They
Washington-
probably don't play all those teams, but
No, Washington.
Washington's good.
Washington State's
pretty
good. Like, he's not going to come out next year and go 11-2.
No, I don't think anybody's legit. Like nobody.
Call me crazy, but I think he's going to go 5-7 next year.
We'll see. Which would be
6-6
better.
in his second year. And I think he's going to go 5-7 in his third year, and he's going to leave.
For a bigger program? I don't know how you do that and leave for a bigger program.
No, he's not going to leave for a bigger
We're looking
program.
way into the
He's
future.
going to go back to where he belongs
Okay, let's chill out a little bit.
at USF.
Okay.
Like a program like USF. That's where Deion belongs. In my eyes.
I do like that.
In my eyes,
But
Deion
also,
belongs at a UCF.
We have
a
no
USF,
clue. We have no clue. We haven't seen
SCUSA, an
him.
American, you know.
We haven't seen a season at Colorado. Who
No,
knows?
I
Maybe
understand.
Colorado comes
I
out
just
and wins
don't
6
like-
games
I don't
next
like
year.
Deion. I don't like the way he goes about things.
And I think that's completely fair. I do think that he's bringing a lot of good ideas to college
I think he's a
football.
great recruiter, but past that,
We don't know. That's not fair to say because we don't know.
I'm saying I think.
He has
I think
won
he's a
wherever
great-
he went. He was 12-0 last year. You can't say a coach is a bad football coach with a 12-0 record.
No, that's fair. I think. Remember, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's a great recruiter, mostly for his name.
Sure. But no, he has really good... He does social media extremely well. He
No,
has...
and that's true. But I think he's
yes,
a great
his
recruiter.
name does definitely help him. But
Yeah.
you can't knock him for that.
No, and that's not his fault at all. I think he's using it to his advantage, which is fair. But I don't think he's a great developer.
We don't know that.
I don't think.
You are just making accusations right now.
I don't
And
think
I wanted
is what
quick.
I'm
I
saying.
wanted quick points, and I think we've gone on this for about 15 minutes. But
All I know is I don't like Colorado. I don't like the rivalry they have with Nebraska because I like the rivalry we have with Iowa because it's friendly and
it's not friendly. It is what?
it is a friendly rivalry. There is zero hate.
A lot of
There is-
people hate Iowa.
There is okay. You can hate Iowa all you want, but Colorado has vandalized cars with Nebraska plates, dumped drinks on
And
children.
I'm sure Nebraska's
wearing-
not innocent in every single situation.
And no, they're not. But tell me a time when Nebraska is known to do that to Iowa guys.
Right, no.
Or when Iowa guys do that to Nebraska guys. They don't, because it's a friendly rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, you're throwing around the word friendly. Like
It's a rivalry.
It's
yes.
a rivalry, but yeah, it's not a. Yeah, there's nothing bad, but So that's really.
And I just don't like it.
Yeah. So this was a packed episode. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll know a lot more on next week's episode. Probably going to be coming out the same day as you're seeing this, or the same day of the week. So you'll be seeing this on Friday. Maybe in the afternoon, unless you watched it right away at noon. So thank you if you did that. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, follow all the socials. They're all going to be in the description. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're going to be posting on there a lot more now that I have officially graduated from the University of Kansas. Congratulations to me. Thank you very much. So I will have a much smaller workload than I'm used to. So I'll be getting a lot of stuff done, and pretty excited about where we can take this. So thank you guys for watching. Zach, you got anything else?
That's all.
All right, we are excited to be back. We will have a couple more in-person episodes, and then we will be back to Zoom until further notice. But remember, 1 episode a week. So don't be asking us, where's this episode? Where's this episode? There is going to be 1 episode a week. We might clip a few, and it'll look like different videos, but it'll all be from the same episode. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe. Go Big Red.